Every structure needs a great foundation, and so with humans, right? If they get the right foundation, then the future is always going to be bright. All businesses have their challenges. So ours is not a typical business. Safari Kit, we don't treat it as business. Our focus is on quality. Our focus is on creating spaces for children which are purpose designed. Creating an environment where the child is going to thrive, right from hiring the right kind of teachers, then training them, creating the systems, creating the processes around it. Most of the people who want to start their own school are women, exactly facing the same problem that I was facing about 10 years ago, right? That as a couple, they feel that they are expecting a little bit more with a preschool and they don't find that in their neighborhood. That's how they approach us. Our energies have to be at a certain level, right? At a certain positivity. And if we have happy managers of school, then we have happy teachers and we have happy nannies, right? And all the support staff. Indian population is growing about 1% every year, and with a population of 1.4 billion, the number of children that go to preschool is not that high. Let me put it that way. It's less than 50%. When we talk about preschool, it's a very small minority educated parents who understand the value of foundation years. They are sort of starting early, but there's still a huge population who feels it's okay. Child can start even at 6 years, and foundation years is not that important.
Subscribe to our channel to enjoy more such business podcasts and stories. Hit that like button and leave a comment to show some love. Our guest today is Mr. Jitendra Karsan, entrepreneur and chairman, Safari Kit India. Mr. Jitendra Karsan, an MBA from Jamnalal Bajaj Institute of Management in Mumbai, comes with almost 3 decades of entrepreneurial experience across various fields. Currently, he is responsible for expanding the Safari Kit brand in India, along with aligning their curriculum with Indian systems. Jitendra has introduced the concept of customized learning in early years by bringing the award-winning preschool Safari Kit to India. With a presence of more than 10 years in India, Safari Kit is making waves in early years sector with a presence in all major cities of India. The man behind the vision is an author and a bike enthusiast who takes on road expeditions across the country. Hello and welcome to Puck Studio. I'm your host, Hedra Raval. Today's episode is having a fantastic entrepreneur and a fantastic subject that we're going to cover. You know what's that subject? Early education sector, preschools, toddlers. Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about the future of India. This entrepreneur is on a mission to build the future of India. Mr. Jitendra Karsan, edupreneur and a chairman of Safari Kit India. Welcome to Buck Studio, Mr. Karsan. How are you doing today?
Good.
That's wonderful. You're an ad man with tech industry exposure as well. So what brought you to early education sector?
See, the rightest way to say is, early years, right? That's the foundation years. Every structure needs a great foundation, and so with humans, right? If they get the right foundation, then the future is always going to be bright. But as I said, that's the rightest answer. Me and my wife both were in the advertising agency. She is a photographer, or was a photographer rather, and I was operating a mid-size ad agency. And when we were pregnant with our second child, that's when we realized that we need to bring more calm and balance into our lives, and not be like rushing like the mad admin.
Yeah.
So we decided, we were thinking, what should we do? And we sort of recollected that while my daughter was in preschool, and I'm not going to name the preschool, she went to one of the best preschool in South Bombay, and she had certain learning challenges, not dyslexia, bordering on dyslexia, but most children have some learning difficulty or the other, and they grow out of it. Especially when we are introducing alphabets and numbers, they tend to write it in mirror or reverse. And we thought it was very cute, right? My daughter's writing mirrored images, alphabets. But when she came in the first grade, that's when we realized that, if there was a early intervention and if somebody would have told us that this is actually a form of learning problem, we would have done something differently. And throughout her primary years, she had little bit difficulty coping up with reading and writing.
It was challenging for her.
Definitely challenging for her. But of course, they outgrow it, right? And we uh, that's when we started learning about early years and all that. And this is again when my wife was we had just delivered our second child, and we decided why not preschool industry. So this whole idea of a parent who was not satisfied with what was there in the market, and we said, why not get something or create something which is different, which a parent like us will want, right? So, and that's how we actually did our research, and we thought Safari Kid, which is a US based chain, and after studying a lot of other competitors in India and abroad, we thought Safari Kid was the best choice, at least for a parent like me. So I said, if not for the world, at least my son will go in the best preschool.
Yeah.
And that's how this idea of getting into the education sector was formed.
So they generally say that whenever you are facing a problem and when it is deep and personal is when you start to think as a businessman that how do I bridge the gap? And that's when your business happened.
Yeah, absolutely, right. If I'm solving a problem for myself, then I'm sure there are a lot of
Yes.
parents like me who are going through the same thing, and which is a testimony now. We are growing, touchwood, and a lot of parents appreciate what we are doing and the sort of quality that we brought in the early education sector.
So what is the story of Safari Kid?
So, firstly, Safari Kid is founded by an Indian immigrant, Miss Shai Mudakavi. She went to the US about 25 years back. And uh, she was a techie, and she had a luxury of getting a very cushy tech job, but she's extremely passionate about early years. And on one hand, there was I'm talking about 25 years back, 100K plus job. And on the other hand, minimum wages start as a teacher.
Decision to make.
And she decided that she wants to get into the early years. And I think that was the best decision, not only for her, but a lot of children. And we've educated more than 50 children worldwide, right? And I think it was a great decision, not only for her, but for all of us. So, yeah, she started about almost 19 years back. We have about 30 plus preschools in USA.
Okay.
And about 8 in Canada, and about 11 plus in India. I say 11 plus because few of them will just open in the next few months.
Oh, nice.
Right. So hopefully by the year end, we'll be more than 20.
So Safari Kid Global has started moving towards India, and you've been instrumental for Safari Kid India. So in this leading preschool chain of India, you must have come across early challenges that you faced, right? And how would you overcome them?
So, of course, challenges, I mean, all businesses have their challenges. So ours is not a typical business, right? I mean, there are many avenues in which a person can make money, but preschool sector is, at least at Safari Kid, we don't treat it as business, right? Our focus is on quality. Our focus is on creating spaces for children which are, purpose designed, creating an environment where the child is going to thrive. All their learning milestones would be met without them realizing that they are being pressurized into to school. And that in itself was a challenge, right? First of all, creating something which was very new to India. So right from training the teachers, hiring the right kind of teachers, then training them, creating the systems, creating the processes around it, right? Because doing one school is easy, but the minute you start thinking of how do we franchise it, and with all the limitations that we had, I think we sort of started adding the right team members, the right and experienced people from the industry, from varied backgrounds. So from the tech industry, because I was from the tech industry, getting people from the advertising world so that we can reach out to people and communicate more efficiently. And of course, the people who were delivering the service, the right teachers. So first few years, actually, we spent doing this without franchising.
Okay.
It's only after the lockdown that we've really started franchising and we've really got onto a mode where we feel that we are ready now and we can expand more rapidly.
So Indian operations prima facie started from scratch and completely your baby, completely your.
Uh, yes, I can put it that way, India Ops. See, because the sort of infrastructure, the sort of support system for a franchise-based business or a franchise-based activity in US is tremendous. I mean, their laws are very much defined for both franchisor and franchisee. Um, you know, everything is more structured. In India, we have to sort of build everything from scratch, right? From the what tech will go into talking to the parents, what sort of systems do we have where we would train teachers? So building LMSs, um, parent communication apps. So all these things, of course, needed time, and we had to build it from scratch. Yeah, if we can put it that way.
So coming to our next question, which is very valid, how did Team Safari Kid happen, and which is primarily female entrepreneurs? So let us know who are they and how do these kind of people get associated with us?
As I said, we just started franchising more aggressively in the last 1.5, 2 years. Uh, Most of the people who want to start their own school are women, right? And they are young mothers,
Okay.
exactly facing the same problem that I was facing about 10 years ago, right? That as a couple, they feel that they are expecting a little bit more with a preschool and they don't find that in their neighborhood. That's how they approach us. But again, they are from varied backgrounds. I have people from if I get them from service industry, it's great. But I have young mothers who've done their MBA, spent some stint with family business, and after they got married, they sort of took a back seat. But the minute they had their first child, and they realized that, what, I need to get back to work. How do I give the best to my child as well as how do I give the best to the society, right? And the community around them. And that's the typical sort of mom who approach us that how can I make a difference to my own child in terms of education and the community that I live in. So mostly business families.
Okay.
Also women from tech background, sometimes, high paying jobs, sometimes high management jobs who feel that, they all come thinking it's going to be easy, to be very frank. They feel that, running a preschool would be much easier, but it has its own challenges. And very quickly, within the first few months, they realize that it's tough, but extremely fulfilling, right? So when you finish a hard day at a preschool, you're not tired. You're happy that you did whatever you did and you're going to make a difference to the children who are in your school.
Yeah, right. So how do you incubate them and how do you make their franchising journey pretty easy?
As I said, over the last few years, we've created a structure whereby all edupreneur female has to do, women have to do is they have to just approach us, right? If they are really passionate about making a difference, right from sourcing the property,
Okay.
building it, hiring teachers, training them, creating the marketing structure for them, making the school known in the community, getting the right sort of enrollments, breaking even, and earning some profit. It's all taken care by us. We train them every step of the way. So there's no point in their entrepreneurial journey where they feel that they've signed up and they don't know how to move forward, right? So we help them every step of the way.
So a proper induction, a business model, a structure, a process induction to be done with them, along with the curriculum, everything step by step is basically mentored by you guys, and then they get on board and successfully then run it.
See, let's put it this way, right? I generally tell this to my franchisees, right? That what is our job? Our job is to make them successful, right? And if they are successful, then we are successful,
Correct.
right? If they are not successful, then there is no Safari Kid, there is no preschool. So we are very clear that if every franchisee of Safari Kid is successful, then we are a great brand. So, and as I said, most of the women who get into this, they are new to the industry. They have a lot of ideas, but and we also encourage those ideas. But we have a set structure and a formula of success, right? Which practically guarantees them that if you follow all the SOPs that we've laid out, you will be successful, right? So yeah, we handhold them until and unless they don't tell us that, you know what, I've got it now, and you guys don't have to bother about us anymore.
We are sailing now.
Yeah, we are sailing
Thanks
now.
for the help.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, that's wonderful.
yeah.
So now let's move to the team corporate Safari Kid.
Yeah.
How do you cultivate leadership? How do you maneuver around the talent? How do you see to it that, the ethos and the culture is inculcated well?
See, I think the biggest reason for success of Safari Kid is that I've been blessed with a great team. Safari Kid wouldn't have been successful if the sort of people who joined hands with me 10 years back, and they've supported me and entire Safari Kid journey. If they were not there, I don't think so we would have been that. And these are all passionate individuals. And we were very clear from day one that we are going to create a culture that we would be happy associating with, right? So I think most people don't leave their jobs. They leave their managers. They leave their bosses.
So right.
And we were extremely clear about this, that, we've come into a space, and if you're going to create it into I don't want to use corporate in a bad way, but, a very strict corporate
Right.
structure, then I think, those guys wouldn't have left their corporate jobs and joined us, right? So the whole idea is we've created a fun environment, right? Because we're dealing with children. Our energies have to be at a certain level, right? At a certain positivity. And if we have happy managers of school, then we have happy teachers and we have happy nannies, right? And all the support staff. And happiness flows top to bottom, right?
Right.
So if the top boss is not happy or is angry or doing something which is going to get the energy down,
Right.
then that energy will sort of pass on.
Percolate everywhere. Yeah.
It'll pass on to the kids as well. So we see to it that the culture is set up in such a way that they don't feel that it's a chore coming to office, right?
Yes.
They feel like I'm responsible for this center. I'm responsible for the happiness of my team and the children who come away. And of course, parents, right? Parents can read energy when they enter a school much quicker than anyone else, right? So yeah, I mean, we are trying, and so far we've been successful. So fingers crossed, maybe, we'll continue doing this.
Very rightly mentioned that a team is an asset. And if you get up in the morning and you feel very motivated to go to where you're going at work, everything that happens is with full power, with full zeal. And yes, you are not working, then you're contributing and you're enjoying it.
Absolutely. Right? I love the way you put it. Everybody is contributing.
Yeah. What about the quality standards and how do you prioritize it, especially when the preschool networks are now growing, and I believe they're rapidly growing? You just mentioned 11 places you guys are there.
It wasn't like 1.5 years, 2 years back we decided let's grow rapidly. We had created the systems. We had created the sort of entire backup and infra in such a way that with our systems and processes, that when we thought and post lockdown, we thought, we are ready. Lockdown was extremely hard on the preschool sector. Yeah. It was the only sector which parents had abandoned, thinking that, it's fine, child can stay at home. But
and such a difficult age group, which is a bundle of energy, and you have to confine it where they're growing, in four walls. It's so difficult. How did you handle that?
So it was very difficult. Lockdown was very difficult. As I said, parents sort of gave up on preschool. For K-12 or full schools, you can't just revoke admission, right? You have to stay in the school. You have to be part of the system. But for preschool, parents just didn't enroll. And when the lockdown was lifted and children started coming back to preschool, all the children who hadn't been to a preschool, we saw a lot of problems in there.
Okay.
They had issues with people around. They used to get scared. They used to avoid eye contact. So a lot of your foundation growing years are extremely important, and we saw that those difficulties in children. But the best part is not only us, even the parents realized, right? And that's what I said. Most of our franchisees are parents. And
Right.
that's when they realized that, what, something went wrong during the lockdown years.
Yes.
And that's why we have more and more people who want to get associated with this sector. They know the importance because they've sort of experienced, I had a bad experience while my daughter was growing
Yeah,
up,
you
and that's what brought me. And I think all these parents who've had a bad experience with their own families during the lockdown period, like, I'm not saying bad as in difficult, they've seen the challenges, and they in turn want to give it back to the society that what we face, no other child should.
And they realize the importance, the magnitude of
Yes,
it. Yeah, yeah.
and they've realized the importance.
Right.
So we are growing rapidly, and we have a lot of schools which are under construction. So hopefully we'll reach our targets, whatever we set this year.
Wonderful. In fact, we did some research, some homework from our end, and the parents are really going gaga about the US-based global curriculum. Can you explain us the USP of Safari Kid?
See, this is a very interesting question, and I don't have a straight answer for this. When I say straight answer, there's no bullet point 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Because how do you build a world-class institute? How do you build a world-class preschool? It can't be like people talk about infrastructure. Some people talk about the global curriculum. But these are just bullet points, right? Right from how the security guard at the door smiles at you and how he welcomes you, to how my PRMs talk to you or the center heads talk to you, the nannies or support staff, the way they deal with your children. So there's not a single USP, if I can just say that, a single or 2, 3. It's everything that we do. Our focus is on parent delight. That every parent who comes to the school has to be delighted, because how do we measure that? Every time we open a new school, we keep this open house where we invite parents from the neighborhood to come and check out our school. 100% of the child who comes to our school for the first time